Hey there, this is Jim the Keys Bartender. How are you today? If you listened to the last episode, which was from the Catch Restaurant on Trivia Night, Tuesday, you will have noticed that I did not have my opening theme song on there. I thought I was playing it, it's been a while since I used that system. I have to use dynamic mics when I'm in a crowded setting, otherwise it'd just be a lot of noise out there. And you know how much of a stickler I am for good sound quality. Let that sink in. I meant that as kind of a joke. Because you're probably saying to yourself, Jim, you put a lot of shit out there besides the content. I'm talking about your sound quality. You don't really check. You never edit. Nope, I don't edit. Part of it is ignorance in the process. Another part is I don't want to change content if I have any regrets what I'm going to say. Recently I haven't dropped a show because of something I said, but never know in the future. I did one show where I got totally intoxicated when I was drinking about 3 years ago, and I couldn't. At the end, I just didn't end the show. I had someone here with me doing a show, a friend of mine, and he had to help me. So I just it was embarrassing. But did I stop drinking then? No. I'll talk about that a little later. Right now, we are, obviously, most of the time you hear me say it's a beautiful day in the Keys. It is a beautiful day in the Keys. I went outside for about 25, 30 minutes, listened to a history podcast, laid in my hammock, get a little vitamin D. I don't lay out too long because about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, you can get really fried out there. So I'm, 25 minutes pretty good with a little protection. It just charges my batteries. So, after the gym and all that, and after I eat my big meal after I work out. So that's one of the things I like doing. Around here, if you're an avid listener to the show, you'll know about the geographic makeup of the Keys. When I say geographic, how we get from the mainland. It's a road, not a ferry, not a helicopter. You could drive all the way from the mainland. There's a highway and 43 bridges all the way down to Key West. The whole trip's about 125 miles once you leave the mainland. Get into the Everglades and all that stuff. Well, between the mainland and the northernmost Keys is a stretch of road, Route 1, that we call the Stretch. The whole road's called Overseas Highway. And the Stretch is bounded by marshland or swamp on either side. And it's kind of a dry season right now. We did have rain and things like that, but this time of year we get a little brush fires along there. And I heard about it, but because I switched to my new iPhone, I don't get the same alerts I got before because I'm not fully set up. I got the most important things. And you might say, hey, Jim, alerts for fires and things like that, they're important. Yeah, they are important. I'm just kind of reminding myself to get it. But there were fires there in the scrubby brush that grows in there, in the dead trees and the dead grass and all that stuff. Oh, it sounds lovely too, but it is lovely. But the smoke, when it gets real bad, the visibility gets bad from all the smoke, they close down briefly. And that doesn't happen every year, but this year supposedly it happened a day or two, either one side of the road or not, while the fire's going on. It's just one of those things you got to be careful about planning your trip or cutting it close when you're going back to the airport. Coming back from the airport, not as much a big deal. I mean, it is a big deal if you're trying to get someplace and you got a detour. That sucks, or sit in traffic for hours and hours. So I plan to go on a trip this Sunday. And I'm going up to visit my father and some friends up in northern any place I stay in the United States here, unless I'm going down to Key West or Marathon, like I did this past Sunday, I'm heading north. So I like going to the airport and parking there when it's a short trip. I park at the airport. I don't look for the budget parking because it's 3 days at most. It'll be $45, $40, and you just walk with your bag and you get in. You don't have to wait for a bus, and I'm there instead of saving like $10-15 looking for the right bus to get to. I like parking right at the airport, the 3 days. But, when it's 2 weeks and stuff like that, and I'm driving, I like to park in low cost off-premises parking. So if you are driving down here, it's good to be planning. A lot of people, I imagine you use, like me, because of the roads are always changing up here. When I say changing, it's like one of those stairways, if you were a fan of Harry Potter, when you walk into one of their buildings, the stairways are all, well, it seems like the off-ramps are always moving because they've been working on the highway since I've been down here, like a lot of growing metropolitan areas. There's new ramps, new highways all around. And matter of fact, when you go up to the airport, I'm always used to exit to the left when I got near the airport. The last exit you take before you get to the Miami International Airport. Well, now the exit is to the right. And there's still a strong urge for me, even though I'm being prompted for it, to go to the left. So there's tons of roads. There's tons of roads that I can get off a road. There's probably, I have no idea. I had once come off Fort Lauderdale. I came into Fort Lauderdale one time, coming back from a trip. Obviously, that's the one I left from, the airport I left from. And the road I took was so foreign to me because they just opened an exit while I was away. I was gone 4 days. And it just routed, I guess I get routed there. Now, I don't have to come in from Miami International. I don't really need my navigation app for that. Sometimes you do. If you're not paying attention, you get in the wrong lane, you can end up going west or north when you don't mean to, and then you got to exit, and if you exit on some of the side streets, you know how it is. It happens to everyone. I don't need to tell you about everyday life. But for these 2-3 day trips you go on, I'm a light packer. I bring one bag. It's always carry on. It can fit under. I try to fit it on my suit, under my seat. Going north is a little more difficult because the temperature down here. You may pick one jacket, and I am taking one jacket with me. Probably carry it with me to be on the plane because the plane gets kind of chilly sometimes, and I like to turn on the AC, kick it on so there's air because it gets, depending on who you're sitting next to. I'm sitting all the way to the front of the compartment, the economy travel compartment. Speaking of that, I was trying one of those budget airlines. I entertained the idea because Spirit and Frontier fly from Miami. And they hit you with these flights. It looks like, $70 round trip, blah, 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 blah. But then, I can take, when I'm traveling by myself, I can take open seating. And I lost a couple pounds, so it's not necessarily as bad for me, at least the width of the seat. The back to the front of the seat where I'm sitting and to where, my knees, that's the one that sucks. So a lot of times I like to sit in the front. And I'm not one of those assholes who move their seats back all the way without checking with the person. I'm saying, hey, do you mind if I move my seat back? And if they say, oh, you know what, that's a tricky question, but I'm going to have to ask that. Well, 3 hours, what are you going to do? I always have this intention of sleeping. But I don't always get to sleep when I'm flying, especially those international flights. It kind of really fuck me up. But these 3 hour flights, especially when I'm getting them, I'm going to probably get up at 5:45, be on the road at, let me see, 6:15, Takes me 15 minutes to shower, tops. Brush my teeth, shave, shower, and I'm out the door. So I'm heading up there. I made all these plans. I was thinking about taking a budget airline, and they hit you with everything's a la carte now. I mean, it's surprising when you fucking book the flight that they're going to say, do you want inside the cabin or do you want to be outside the cabin? I mean, is this for sitting on the fucking wing? On the tail? Are you going to drag me on a little, glider behind it? No, you're not going to get sit. It's going to be standing room only. I can't imagine they haven't done that yet. I mean, there's probably safety issues. That no, you got to have seats. I know you could fit twice as many people if they're standing. And charging you for the privilege of possibly losing your luggage. Right? We're going to charge you $50. And there's a very good chance that we might lose your luggage. So I tried that, and I'm looking at it, and I was having a problem booking because there was a problem with the site. And then I was thinking, wait a second, didn't those a couple weekends, didn't they cancel a bunch of flights and all that stuff? And it was that budget airline. So I said, you know what, I better go with someone else. Yeah, initially it was about $100 more, $150 more. But in the end, it wasn't all a la carte. I could just pick my seat. And I picked one in the front. I don't mind if it's in the middle or not. Who knows? There may be someone on the flight or not. One of those early flights on Sunday, they're not always booked, full. So I'll see what happens there. But I like being of any section in the front row. Don't have to worry about someone dropping that seat on my knees. I harbor grudges that way. I hate harboring a grudge against a stranger on the flight. So I ended up booking on a more traditional carrier. And like I said, I like parking in the garage near the airport, in the middle. Miami is horseshoe shaped, meaning the terminal's horseshoe shaped. And the center of that horseshoe is the parking. So I just park there, look for whatever gate my airline is. I think it's going to be I always think it's on the east side. I don't know if it's east or north. I can't really tell because once you get through all those hairpin turns and all that stuff coming off the interstate, I have no which way I'm leaving. And when you take off, you're taking off to the south and you make a turn, or maybe go north, or you go over the ocean, whatever. I'm game for it. So I was going up to visit my father, Dover, Delaware. Not necessarily a hotbed for travel early May. Little to my knowledge, there's a place called Dover Downs. Recently, it was a harness racing or horse racing track, and they also have a NASCAR track in there, mile-long track on the outside of the horse racing track, and a big stadium, and they have NASCAR events. They have a NASCAR event this coming weekend coming up, and you know how I bitched about how high the hotel rooms were down here, not for my sake, because I thought it just was restricting a lot of people and restricting their disposable income while they're here, if they're paying like $300, $400 a night. Well, little to my knowledge, I didn't think it would be that early in the season in Dover because of it being so far north, and they want it to be as nice weather as possible. Usually later May is better, or early June. Some very pleasant weather up that neck of the woods. Well, they're having it in early May. And the prices, and there's not a lot of extra rooms up there. So I'm going to maybe check out Airbnb or something like that while I'm at it, while I'm up there. Or may have to go miles to find a room. And say, Jim, why don't you stay with your dad? I don't want to bother my dad with that stuff. And I wouldn't do it. They live in a retirement community, and it's not a big place, a unit they're living in. So, more comfortable for everyone all around. So, when I'm packing, especially on a short trip, you think about all the things you need, a couple pair of shorts. I always pack at least one more pair of underwear, one more pair of pants, one more shirt than I think I might need, just in case. Any spillage or anything like that on the plane, I could just change out of it. When I'm there, yes, I can always wash my clothes when I'm there, but who wants to spend their time doing that when they're traveling? Not me. I don't want to do that. I just want to get up and go. And with this little, you could travel with too little. You definitely could travel with too little. I'm actually thinking in my head, do I need some workout gear just in case I can get a workout in while I'm there from Sunday to Tuesday. It'll be Sunday afternoon to Tuesday. So maybe, if I'm staying someplace, maybe Monday night. No, I'm not going to have time. I'm not going to have time. They're going to have one night. I'm going to Monday night. If I do end up staying in a place that has a gym, that might be the thing to do it. Or Sunday night, actually. See, these are the things you go, and you think about where you're going to eat and what you're going to eat. That's very important before you get on the flight. I've done that. There's nothing worse than going on a flight with intestinal distress. Not only for the other passengers, but just for your own sense of well-being. So I'll drink maybe a cup of coffee. I'll get to the airport, brush my teeth. Nothing worse than coffee breath the rest of the day. I can't handle that. Stay away from Cinnabon. Not because of the weight thing. It's just that for some reason, a big-ass cinnamon bun before you get on. There's virtually no food you can eat at the airport that will make you feel comfortable. So I'm thinking some of these like trail bars they got. When I say trail bars, a bar of food, what is energy food? Meal supplement bars. A big meal. Some eggs, like eggs. Depending on how a restaurant cooks, I could stop on the way and I can eat. No, I'm usually not that hungry before I fly anyway. I just get hungry in flight. And it says on the flight, because I'm not on a budget airline, that there's going to be snacks. Are they going to give you a cookie and some peanuts and some soda? I try to drink as little as possible when I'm on the plane, because you know how much a joy it is to get in those really tiny bathrooms. You look like a mental case trying to get into it. It's like getting into an extra small broom closet, and then you got to turn around, and you'll be lucky if there's no turbulence, because if there's turbulence, you're hanging, you have your dick in your hand, and you're trying to pee, and you're just kind of bracing yourself against the wall, and I hope I have a really good stream, so it just goes quick, and I'm in and out, wash my hands, boom, done. Those international flights, man, they try to cram as many seats as possible. And I'll tell you where they take that room from. They take it from the coach or economy class restrooms. I told you last year when I was going over, I booked it and put a seat. I paid an extra, $75 for a seat with about 3 feet in front of me as a bulkhead right before the first class. I'm not at that point where I'm going to spend a couple thousand more for a flight. 10 hours, I can't justify that. Maybe someday. Oh God, Jim, you're almost 60 years old. You think your economic situation is going to change? Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. It would be nice someday to have that option and just go and say, hey, yeah, I'm flying first class. I only fly first class. If shit goes down, when I say shit goes down, the plane goes down or something like that, it really doesn't matter. It's, don't worry, he was sitting in first class. No, they don't say he survived because he was sitting in first class, and they have a really, eventually they may have those on planes. They have escape pods for people in first class. They say, well, listen, if the plane goes down, we get you, for an extra $5,000 or $5,000 on top of the flight, we'll put you get an escape pod. And you know what? They don't even have to really have it. They could just tell you that to have it. Don't worry, your seat ejects right out of the roof. It starts going down, and then you're eased down with a big parachute. Yeah. They'll do that. So I guess they're going to be somebody for the airline's going to think, no, we're not going to do escape pods. We're not going to do standing room only. Thankfully, they're not just doing a bucket in a closet for the lavatory on the plane. Lavatory. They say lavatory on the plane. They don't say bathrooms, restrooms. Well, where are the restrooms? It's not really a room, is it? Where's your water closet? Well, there's not a lot of water. It's a lot of pink. It's blue water. Why do you say pink water? Why is it blue? Why does the water have to be blue? Why can't it be red or pink? I guess that's the chemical they use. Well, I'm going to move on from there. A lot of you, if it's your first show you're listening to, and I don't know why this would be your first show, and if it was your first show, you could say, this says Keys Bartender, but he never talks about bartender. He hasn't talked about bartender. Well, I am going to talk about it right now. My main job is bartending down here, and the reason I do the show is because it's from a bartender's perspective in a resort town. And I do talk about bartending, how to handle people and stuff like that. I want to talk about my journey as a sober bartender right now. And people say, well, what do you mean sober bartender? I don't drink. I used to drink a lot, as evidenced by that story I told you towards the beginning of the show. How I got intoxicated. I would get intoxicated at the most improper times. And I was turning into, as years go on, I was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I was a gradual drunk. Some people were drunk right from the get, but I became gradually everyday drunk. I was doing it. At the time before, when I came down here 15 years ago, 3 months after I came down here, I became sober after getting drunk one time, getting in discussion with my roommate that time, and he says, you're going to have to get some help or something like that. Now, he wasn't suggesting I should stop drinking. He thought the only thing I needed to do was stop drinking bourbon. Now, bourbon was a contributing factor, but then, listen, there's other alcohol involved. I drank vodka, I drank some gin, drank a lot of beer, I liked wine. I wasn't one of those people that only drink one time. So I stopped for years, for about 7 years. And then I decided, maybe I'm not a drunk anymore. And I stopped drinking. That means I was drinking again. And it started out, I was, glass of wine here, a couple glasses of wine when I'm at my apartment. I wasn't going to meetings, obviously. You don't go to meetings while you're drinking. I couldn't imagine that. I'm not one of those people. I wasn't forced to go to meetings, so why would I go to meetings if I'm not drinking? And everyone kind of knew that. I was drinking. I'm not going to AA, so I was drinking. So there were some incidents where I'm drinking in the parking lot of a supermarket where I just buy this stuff. And it'd be manufacturing stress that I drink over instead of coping with it like everyone else does in life. And getting drunk, driving, working. I was bartending. I got a job 20 miles south of where I live here on weekends. And at the end, I would get out at around 9:30, 10 o'clock. And on the way home, I'd stop for gas or something like that at a gas station. Or stop and pick up some hard lemonades, 2 16-ounces, and drink those on the ride back in the car while I was driving, open container. Bad thing. Driving. I wasn't necessarily intoxicated, but I was under the influence. That's what DUI. doesn't mean driving intoxicated. It means driving under the influence. That means you have something that's altering your state. So I was doing all that stuff, drinking in parking lots, putting vodka into water bottles. Water bottles so I can drink that. It can be a separate water bottle. That's where you got to be careful. Like when I'm bringing a water bottle in, I may put like some kind of energy B12 stuff into it or nutrients, and people are looking down. That's my water bottle. But since COVID, everyone wants to drink from the same water bottle, right? Don't worry about infection. That's one of the things to do. So I wasn't drinking at work necessarily. At the end of the shift, I would take my shift drinks. 1, 2 drinks, sometimes 3 drinks. Yeah. Sometimes 3 drinks. I really would go for it. And then towards the end, right before I stopped drinking again, I started doing a thing where I put a little water glass here. And if I was pouring a vodka drink, I would just move my cup, my plastic cup. I move the vodka over it. No one's looking. Put like an ounce or 2 of vodka in it and go back to making the drinks. Especially when I make multiple drinks at the same time. So it looked like I had I just drink plain water in there and drink that. And then, so one time I just came intoxicated at work one night. And my boss pointed it out to me. He said, listen, you are drunk. You go home and she had it. And there's nothing more, for an adult, there's nothing more embarrassing to be dressed down about being. For me, there could be other things more embarrassing. There could be other things more embarrassing. But for me, that was very embarrassing. And I just realized how far I went, so I decided not to drink after that. So I went back and I admitted that I was... I went back. What I mean, I went back to sober life. I went back to my 12th step, which is AA, and haven't had a drink since then. I accidentally did drink from a cup that had vodka in it, but it was a mixing cup. And when I drank that, I spit it out immediately. And I don't have I used to have, when I first got sober, I used to have drinking dreams. After a couple of years, I'm thinking, wow, I can't believe I ruined my sobriety. People that are sober get obsessed with how long they've been sober. That's why you hear people 1 day at a time. You don't think it's been almost 2.5 years for me now. In 3 weeks, it'll be 2.5 years. And it's, a lot of people in the program say, all you have is these 24 hours in front of you. And this makes it more manageable. I'm not drinking today. So I have to start saying that, because sometimes I've learned how I like to handle it. Not everyone handles it the same way. And what I tell people when they want to buy me a shot, I'll just say, I'm sorry, I'm not drinking today. If they're tourists, they don't need to know. They don't need to know. I'm saying, oh, thank you, but I'm not drinking today. Now, if it's a local and I see them out when I go to restaurants and stuff like that, I like to tell them. And it's not to pat myself on the back, because a lot of times people would like to send me a drink or prompt me to drink or buy me a shot or ask the owner for that. And then the owner has to say he doesn't drink. And then I have to explain to them, and they feel kind of weird about it. I just tell them right away and say, you know what, I understand. You might think I act kind of like a person that drinks, but I don't drink. This is my natural personality. And when I tell people who you think the people that come into the place may be surprised by it, that there's a bartender that doesn't touch it. I mean, when I say I don't drink, I don't touch it. If it doesn't go past my lips, I smell it. I can taste the mixtures. Rarely, the nice thing about it, rarely does liquor go bad. If it's in a bottle and it's been on, it's usually pretty good. Some of the stuff, when you have the juices, when it's made with, like, there's certain vodkas, flavored vodkas, where they use real juice in it. Sometimes it turns a different color, but that really doesn't change the taste of it that much, I don't think. But I don't use it that when it does those things, so I don't worry about that. The people that are most shocked are people that are in the program with me, who are sober also. They say, how can you do that? Some people think I'm contributing to alcoholism. And I said, well, first of all, if I refuse to serve it, then I couldn't do that job. And they said, get another job. And I said, well, I do really well. I became really good at this job. I don't really want to not do it. And I enjoy the people that I serve. And I realize in my head that a lot of people, some people have problems that I serve. Some people have problems. And those people, I let them know in small bites, when I say small bites over time, that I'm sober. And they get to know it. Well, how does he do it? Sometimes that does happen. And every so often there is a person I see in the rooms that I used to serve. And, most of them I'm not surprised when they come in here. But I'm not trying to judge. I'm not surprised when I see them. I'll reflect on it and say, oh, yeah, it seems like other people, if they're really, really bad at it, say, I can help you. Or I know a place where they might be able to help you. If they ask for help, because you can't stop someone to do that. But for me, they wonder, how can you do it? And the second thing is, how do you not drink? He said, well, I'm at work, and I've for one thing, I shouldn't have been drinking while I was working, and now I don't drink after work, which I would have done at home anyway. And the thing that got me before when I started drinking again was drinking at home. Because I love drinking alone. I really enjoy drinking alone. When you drink a lot of times you like to drink alone, or you like to drink with someone who drinks like you drink. But that's usually, that's not always the case, because you don't want to see yourself reflected in someone else. Right? You can get the realization, boy, that guy drinks a lot. Oh, he gets kind of nasty and stuff like that. What the fuck? That's how I get. Yeah. So, that's how I stay sober. By going to meetings, thinking about that I can't control my liquor. Sometimes I would have been able to have 2 or 3 drinks. But, very frequently, I didn't. And I never let the times that I was responsible drinking allow those times to counsel me that, oh, you don't do that all the time. No, but I do it frequently enough that I was causing damage to my body, to my relationships, and maybe one day it would have caused a fatality. I see it all the time down here. Funny, a friend of mine who's an attorney said, if you get arrested or if you get stopped down here and they want to give you a sobriety test, don't ever blow into there. He says that, don't ever blow, because they've been wrong, and this, if they pick something up, you get it, you're done. You're done for that. So, I don't know what would happen if I did get stopped and I did get a sobriety check. I would probably say, hey, listen, I didn't drink. As a matter of fact, I'm so certain of it, I would like a blood test. If, the breathalyzer fails, because I know I don't know. I heard that there's a possibility that they incorrectly use that. And some people may have an indicator that show that. Or you may not have a balance or something like that. There's all sorts of things that could cause you to fail sobriety test. Manic behavior, whatever. So, and I'm not counseling you on that. That's not my job. That's not my job, especially on the podcast here. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do one while I'm away on Monday. I will be back Tuesday night. I may do that Tuesday night. I don't know. It may be a little late. No, I will not do Tuesday night. Wednesday afternoon. Be a couple days. Maybe I'll drop one while I'm away. To do one on my new iPhone. Who knows? It's going to be a lot of excitement. Well, no, may not be any excitement. But thank you for listening. I will be back. Take care and it's Thursday. Maybe I'll do another. If I have a compelling things to talk about, maybe I will be back tomorrow. Thank you very much and have a great weekend if you don't hear from me tomorrow. No guarantees. We only have these 24 hours, right? Bye.